From 1 to 100. This is a podcast where we talk about building your YouTube community from 1, that's you, to 100 so that you can make a living doing what you love. On the show, we talk about how to build a business as a YouTube creator in the passion/enthusiasm/creator economy. I'm your host, Heather Ramirez, and this is episode 23 of From 1 to 100. Yeah. Hello, everybody. Welcome to today's episode, today's stream. Oh, I feel like I'm going to sneeze. First of all, I'm just going to be honest with you guys and say something up front, which is kind of strange, but I just thought I should say it just in case. But I'm feeling super anxious today, so if the synapses aren't firing or if I forget what I'm saying, I'm definitely just having one of those days. So I apologize in advance and bear with me. Also for today's stream, because it has been a minute since we've done a solo debrief episode of From 1 to 100, I kind of wanted to, recap, highlight some things, and kind of give some updates on my thoughts about monetization as a YouTube creator in the creator economy. And that's what we're going to be talking about today. But I am going to be walking through like making something in Keynote. So point is, if you're listening to this as the podcast version or the audio version, this is your permission to just stop. And in the description, there is going to be a link to the live stream replay. And I definitely encourage you to watch the video because I think today's version is going to be really visual. Otherwise, it's going to be a lot of me saying like, but I don't know, who knows? So first of all, I just want to give a shout out to everyone here. It is so good to see you all. Megan is here. Consistent Ash is here. Mia Hall is here. It's so good to see you and hear from you. We've been missing you. Melanie is here. Hello, Obs. We are talking after this. Homesick Mac, good evening from Sweden. Sammy Superstar, good to see you. Ballard Vibes, what's up? Enthusiasm, Tom Buck is here. And Samantha, Inspirational Connection TV, so good to see you all. Thank you so much for being here. And then shout out to anyone who caught us on our Leap into Live presentation, which was so much fun. You still have time to catch the replay. You can get an all access pass to Leap into Live, which is going on this week, starting yesterday, going till Thursday, I believe. And it's just, the 4-day boot camp to learn everything about current trends and how to get started and how to take things to the next level when it comes to online video and live streaming. So definitely go check it out at leapintolive.com. And then you can check out the replay of me and Tom's session, which was outstanding branding, putting the U in YouTube, which I thought was actually pretty fantastic. So go us, babe. All right. So for today, here's what I wanted to talk about. Again, like I said, I was trying to think about almost doing a debrief, but I will open with a big takeaway that has happened in the past week, which is I attended a talk where Sam Yam, I believe his last name is, he's one of the co-founders of Patreon, was there talking to a majority of the audience were builders and founders and startups. And I was there and I was like, oh, I have a question about what you think about the creator middle class. And I am not 100% on board with that term, but when I say creator middle class, what I'm referring to are there's, the top 1% of creators, the Mr. Beasts of the world, the huge YouTubers, huge TikTokers, whatever you want to call them, huge content creators that are, bajillionaires, huge audiences, stuff like that. Then there's everyone else. And then there's, people who can't monetize at all or don't have anything substantial. They're just kind of making super chats here and there, like nothing really that big of a deal, right? So creator middle class is like in the middle, and specifically when I refer to it, I just use a nice even number, $100,000 a year off of being a full-time content creator. My mission is to advocate for that. And when I think about the future of work, the future of what's possible in terms of, how people can really build a business around something that they're very enthusiastic about or passionate about, and the fact that I think it's never been easier, that's something that I really, really want to advocate for, which is why I have this podcast. My question to Sam, being that he is the founder of Patreon, he's, they're constantly doing research, talking to creators, they're constantly developing their product to better serve the creator economy and stuff like that. And he has the whole breadth of super small creators to super large creators. It was funny. I had 2 questions for him. So I was like, what are your thoughts on the creator middle class? Or I had 1 question, which was that, and he had 2 thoughts. And one of them was, when you refer to creator middle class, like, I'm not sure if you're referring to a threshold, but what we see is like $10,000 to $20,000 a year. And I thought that was very interesting because that is not creator. Like, when I say creator middle class, I feel like you should be at the point where you're able to make a full-time income off of content creation, just like I do, just like Tom does. He's making more than he was at teaching, things like that. It's nothing extravagant. It's nothing glamorous. But you could live comfortably, right? And when he said 10 to 20,000, I thought that was really interesting, which tells me a little bit about the creators on Patreon. Now, when it comes to Patreon and really any way to monetize in the creator economy, I don't think it is smart, and I think most creators don't do this, is to put all their eggs in one basket, right? So I don't think there are many creators who are just 100% of their income comes from Patreon. So if he's saying $10,000 to $20,000 as a threshold on an annual income from just Patreon, I'm sure those creators are also having brand deals, sponsorships, merch, memberships, exclusive content, AdSense, whatever. It's factoring a multitude of different ways to monetize, which is the way that you should do it. But I just thought that was an interesting number. And the other thing that he said was there's actually an argument, which I would love to talk to people who have this argument, but there is an argument that the creator middle class does not exist. That because the top 1% of creators, honestly, I don't know what the number is, but it's pretty extreme in terms of most of the money, most of the watch time, most of the audience is around the top 1% of creators. I get that there could be an argument that it's not even worth talking about the creator middle class because it's so minuscule compared to these huge big creators that are like moving. They're really like at the forefront of the economy. They're driving the economy, right? And I get that, but I also think it's even more important to advocate for the creator middle class and to talk about different ways to monetize and to talk about how it is possible to make a full-time income without being one of the big creators, because who else is going to do it if not from 1 to 100, right? That's why I started this in the first place, because again, zooming out to the future of work and people being able to design their life and make a living doing what they love, I believe in that. And I feel like I am a walking, living, breathing case study of that. And I know many of the guests that I've interviewed on From 1 to 100 are also case studies of that. So I thought that argument was interesting, that, there is no creator middle class, or maybe the idea is that it's not even worth talking about because there's just nowhere near as much money. It's chump change compared to millions and the $1 billion industry that is the creator economy, being driven by everyone who's at an audience size of 1 million plus. But that's why for today's episode, I was like, okay, I think what I really want to do is break down the different models, which I've been talking about, but I think it's worth actually pulling up a diagram and spelling it out. So I always preface this by saying you do not need to monetize your YouTube channel. If you don't want to and you want it to be a hobby thing, go ahead, right? My thing is that if you want to monetize, it's never been easier. You have a multitude of options. There's so many different ways that you can go about it. But that's kind of the kicker, is that because there's so many ways to go about it, there isn't the one path of like, if you're going into like if you want to become a doctor, you go to, you take the test, you go to med school, you do your residency, and the plan is like just so spelled out. Whereas as a content creator, you're paving your own path. It's totally different. But I want to try to put together models so that you could at least know what to expect, like have some kind of expectation. So it's not, it might not be the exact steps 1 through 20, but at least it gives you an idea, and then you can take it from there. So that's what I wanted to do today. And while that's happening, I'm just going to check in with the comments. Hello, everybody. Awesome. Annika's here. Hey, everyone. Joining a little late. Happy to be here. Melanie says she switched over from Patreon to Buy Me a Coffee because I see it as a tip jar, not an extra platform to invest so much time and content into. Yes, I totally agree. I was on Patreon in 2016, and it just turned into like this second job because now I had to create like content that only 3 people could see because they were paying me $10. I didn't know what I was doing back then, but I definitely like Buy Me a Coffee because people don't have to sign up for something. They could just tip you. But everyone has different ways to go about it. Andres is here. Love the channel, just showing love. Awesome. Jaina, 2 Worlds. It's hard to keep the enthusiasm going when you have so much work to get 6 views. Okay, so that's kind of my whole thing, is that if you want to monetize through the influencer economy or the creator economy, like models, the way that we typically think of them, or maybe what's most popular, you do need all these views and all these subscribers. But to me, what I'm kind of advocating for is a different model where, you can monetize off of those 6 views. And I know that sounds like, come on, what are you talking about? But it's true, because you don't need a large audience to be able to provide value to one person, right? Like, it could just be that one person. So obviously, there's a lot that goes into it, but let me try to kind of walk through it today. So the enthusiasm economy. So, okay, let me back up. Influence economy, just as a rundown, is just amass a crazy amount of subscribers. You become an influencer because you have such a large audience, and you just kind of monetize to that audience, which, like, I can't tell you how to be an influencer because I don't have a large audience. And I think that it's hard to just, like, from start, if you want to start today, I'm going to become an influencer with 1 million subscribers. That's really, like, I couldn't tell you how to do it without feeling like you have to create really clickbaity content that, like, appeals to the masses and all of that. I think you would have to probably be, probably lean towards the lifestyle entertainment channels, which is cool. Nothing wrong with that. Just, it's not my specialty. Then there's the passion economy, which I originally started talking about when I started this podcast. And that's, instead of getting 1,000 people to give you $100 over the period of 12 months, you can get 100 people to give you $1,000 over the period of 12 months because you are offering a transformational product or service to a smaller community, where that smaller community is willing to pay a premium price for your service or your product. And I've had many examples of people who are following the passion economy business model as guests on this podcast. So if you want to hear their stories and how they've built a business around creating content on YouTube, you could definitely check that out. Derek James, who was the most recent guest that I had on last week, perfect example of this. He's got an online course. He just launched a Mighty Network. He's got PDF guides and, the whole thing. But he just crossed 10,000 subscribers, and, he had a full-fledged business very early on. I can't remember what the number was, but, it was very early on. So you don't need like a certain threshold or a certain number in order to start monetizing. But you do have to have the passion, right? Like, you have, in Derek's case, he had expertise, experience, passion. He was at a point where he had something valuable to offer, where that information and that value was hard to come by, which is why people are willing to pay a premium price for that. So now the enthusiasm economy. I've talked about it a little bit before, and this is my new thing. This is kind of where I want to start advocating for a lot. It's weird because when I say the enthusiasm economy, like I don't have access to be able to do the data research and stuff. I could only, just anecdotally say, here's what I've seen, here's what I've talked to, here's what I've experienced. But I really do think that I want it to be a model. That's why I want to talk about it. So if someone wants to do the research and talk to me, that'd be awesome. But I think that the enthusiasm economy model, which is what I'm calling it, is really putting the creator first, right? So I think that the way that people talk about the creator economy, it is so company driven, business driven, influencer driven. There's a lot of like big numbers. It's hard to wrap your head around. But like if you wanted to start today and you're super enthusiastic about like, I don't know, mangoes, you could totally start a channel and monetize that channel because you're enthusiastic about mangoes. I don't know. That's the first thing that came to mind. But let me try to break this down, and I'm going to share my screen because I have this in my notebook, but I want to show it to you digitally. Okay, so here we go. I picture the enthusiasm economy as a tree, okay? Also, I just want to say that this is all still a work in progress, okay? So this is, it's just in my head and I'm just kind of dumping it. So let's see. First of all, I believe that at the root of the enthusiasm economy, let's make this a little bit smaller. At the root of the enthusiasm economy, we've got the creator's enthusiasm. And what is cool about this model is that it's not experience, it's enthusiasm. So you can argue in the passion economy or the expert economy or education economy, in order to sell an online course, you have to have experience in the thing that you're selling the course about, right? So you have to have industry experience. But what I'm arguing is that in the enthusiasm economy, if you wanted to start a channel where you are going to run your first marathon, you can start that channel with your first video saying, I have never run a mile. Like my first video is going to be about me running my first mile. So you don't need to have years of experience or to be the fastest runner or, 10 marathons under your belt. It could just be day one, but you're so passionate, you're so excited to be able to shoot towards running your first marathon, okay? So I think the root of it all, the creator's enthusiasm for the thing. And also, just to note, I think that this is different from passion. I don't actually know what let's look at this. Google passion, Google enthusiasm. Okay, passion is a strong and barely controllable emotion. The suffering and death of Jesus. That is not what we are. Intense sexual love. Okay, these are not what we're referring to. A thing arousing enthusiasm. Well, okay, so when I think of passion, I think of something that's like almost innately, it's like in your nature. That's what I think of when I think of passion, which that's great. There's nothing wrong with that. But enthusiasm is like, it doesn't have to necessarily be something that you've dedicated your life to or something that you've been doing since you're a kid. Like I said, it could be you woke up tomorrow and you're like, I want to run my first marathon and I'm super enthusiastic about it. Intense, eager enjoyment, interest, or approval. Yeah, so interest is kind of an interesting interest. Interest is an interesting way to think about it because interest is not necessarily something that you are born with, right? It's not like an innate thing. It could be something that, in 2 months you stumble upon a thing and before you know it, you're just super into anime or something like that. So that's why I like the difference in the words. Okay, so that's enthusiasm. All right. Then this is the next step would be to kind of portray and convey that enthusiasm to people and that happens through the platform. And I'm going to specifically put YouTube here because I'm a YouTube coach. That's my specialty. And I really do think it's the best platform for this model. I'm obviously biased, so I'm just saying that up front. But you can, insert platform here. I would love to see more examples where you use TikTok or Instagram of this. So if you know anybody, please direct them to me because I'd love to talk to them about it. But I've really only seen this happen the way that I'm talking about with YouTube. Okay, so first and foremost, you've got the enthusiasm. The creator's like, okay, I want to share this enthusiasm. I want to document this journey. I want to, connect with other people who are just as excited as I am. And so I'm going to start a YouTube channel. Great. Awesome. But that is built on the enthusiasm around the thing. And I really think that if you were not enthusiastic about anything in particular, it's kind of hard. It's hard to grow a tree if the roots are not strong, right? So if you're still in an experimental phase or you're still figuring out what it is that you're super into, then I would take some time and just have fun and explore until you find that thing. But then once you have that thing, then you can buckle down, build your branding around your enthusiasm and stuff like that. All right, cool. So our YouTube channel is growing and now we want to monetize. And to me, 3 main ways in this specific model. So I'm going to put these here for now. Bam. All right. So the first way that I'm going to say is specialized products or services. So this is, I feel like this is kind of obvious, but in case you don't know what I'm talking about, for specialized products or services, this is stuff like freelancing, consulting, online courses, group coaching, maybe it's a PDF or an ebook, or maybe you're like Dancy Bearded and you're coming out with your own beard oil line or something like that. So it's really, Annika's in here and her thing is all about sailboats, I believe. So I'm sure there's a lot of products and services around that. So that's what, okay, going back to our marathon example, maybe it's, okay, I ran my first 5K. You can come up with a guide or maybe some kind of digital boot camp or challenge or something like that and sell that to people who are still having to run their first mile. That's what I mean by specialized product. And you really aren't going to know what that specialized product is until you start building the community around the YouTube channel, because then you'll be able to see oh, I'm seeing a pattern. Here's a solution that I can offer. Cool. Second thing is a digital space. So this one I really, really want to highlight because to me, this is new as of, let's call it in the past year. I think it's something that has existed, but in terms of people really leaning in and incorporating it into their monetization strategy as a content creator, I've really only seen this kind of be really part of the mainstream discussion until recently. So you can replace this with community. I think that's probably the more recognizable term. But the reason why I say digital space is because it might not necessarily be a community in the way that you think of it. Because YouTube calls a creator subscribers community. Community can mean a multitude of things. But when I say digital space, what I mean is you create a space where your people can not only connect with you on a deeper level than beyond YouTube comments, but then also your people can connect with each other. And that is so key. That is a unique, excuse me, I'm burping. That is a unique product that I don't think is something that people would naturally think that's how I'm going to monetize. So for example, we have our Just Create More community, and there are so many connections and collaborations and people who are meeting that even though Tom and I are the founders of that community. We could have never predicted or even created that value if not for creating this space for that value to manifest. That is something worth paying for, 100%. And I think you could talk to anyone in our community and they would agree. So I see this on so many levels. And I think especially after 2020, people crave this, right? And the reason why I say digital space instead of community is because I want people to think of it like a space where, it is a space to do something, to congregate, to bring people together. And however you execute that, like however you want to, if you want to do a mastermind, if you want to do, weekly webinars, if you want to do icebreakers, or maybe it's just a Facebook group where people connect, or a Discord server or something like that. However you want to manifest that, obviously is up to you and your brand. But I do think that if you are going to share your enthusiasm and then bring people together who also have that enthusiasm, it almost can't be done without having some kind of space for that people to come together. So if you are super into antique cars or retro cameras like Tom, like you can build a whole YouTube channel around retro cameras and then start a Discord server where people are, they have a retro camera and now they're into it. And then everyone's kind of contributing like, oh, I found this thing. Look at this, blah, de, da, de, da. Right. And I think I said this, but I think that this is something that you can monetize. Like, I think that this should be part of the business model. All right. The last way is affiliates. So affiliate marketing is something that is very, is kind of core to the creator economy and, all of these digital economies. I think it's, affiliates have been something for a very, very long time. But the reason why I say affiliates and not sponsorships is because with affiliates, it's very natural to be like, hey, you know what? I'm using to live stream this. I'm using Ecamm Live. If you want to use Ecamm Live, there's a link in the description underneath this video. You can sign up for a free trial to check it out. But I'm not getting paid to say that because I am a customer who is also paying for, I don't have there's no deal. Now I do get a referral fee, but there's no difference in price to the customer, right? So you're paying the same whether you go through me or through somebody else or through them or whatever. And so I think that in the enthusiasm economy, if you can think of, okay, let's go back to the marathon example. There's a company out there who's making specific shoes or something, or maybe, you're partnering with someone who is all about smoothies, and then they're going to sell you a digital recipe book to make smoothies to help you feel energized on your run. You can get a kickback from the sales of that recipe book or whatever. That's affiliates, right? Or you could even say hey, this is the headband that I use when I go running. You can buy it on Amazon. Here it is, right? So the reason why I think affiliates is great is because it's like you are in charge of how you, what's the best way to say this? It's like you still have ownership, right? If we start talking about brands and sponsorships, they have a lot more say in what you say because it's like you're kind of getting paid to say the thing, right? Maybe that's not a good way to say it, but with affiliates, I just feel like it's just so natural. It's just kind of like, hey, if you want to learn about YouTube, or if you want to use the same landing page web designer that I do, I use Lead Pages. And in the link under the description, you'll find, you can start with the free trial or whatever. And it's like such a natural way to talk about the thing that I'm already talking about. I'm super enthusiastic about. And I'm in charge of the creative. I have full ownership of how I deliver that, when I deliver it, how often I talk about it to my audience. I'm still in full control as a creator. And I think that's an important distinction between sponsorships or brands, where a lot of the times the brands are going to dictate how often or what to say. They'll give you the points. They'll tell you, okay, you have to make 4 videos. Yeah, there's a lot more, like, you don't have as much ownership. Mind you, sponsorships and brand deals are going to be several more $1,000s than affiliates, but I just didn't consider it part of the tree, right? So of course, like, if we think of other things, like, I could put, over here, or like maybe at the top of the tree, you can do like brand deals, and then you could do like up here, we'll do in-person events. Like, there's all these other ways that you can monetize, but in terms of the main ways, I'm gonna say it's this. So we look at this tree, the enthusiasm economy model. The foundation is in the enthusiasm of the creator. The creator does not have to be a super expert or super experienced. There is value in them starting at day one, which I think is awesome for a lot of people who feel like they are not good enough to have a YouTube channel, because that's actually part of it. That's valuable in itself. You share that enthusiasm for your thing through some kind of platform. I still believe that YouTube is the best way to do that, because I think a view on YouTube is worth a lot more than a view on TikTok, and like so many other reasons, but I'll say that one for now. And then that can grow into you monetizing through specialized products and services, creating a digital space for your community and for the people to unite who are also enthusiastic about the thing that you're enthusiastic about. And then you can also, do partnerships with affiliates to help you monetize to kind of sell products that are in line with the thing that you're enthusiastic about, or are in the same industry, I should say. So here, of course, I'm a big fan of Mighty Networks. I'm always on the lookout for other platforms, but I think that they're doing it awesome. There's Facebook groups, there's Discord servers, and if you think like of a digital space, you could go as super specialized as a mastermind, where, okay, maybe you're doing a business mastermind. You have 10 people paying $1,000 each. Great. You can do it wherever you want, right? Maybe you don't even need a platform or whatever. But digital spaces are also scalable. So if you wanted to invite more people, decrease the price, and then have people start to refer and be ambassadors and invite other people to join your community, now you can take that 10 to so much further than that, because you're leveraging everyone's network who's already a part of it. So that's super exciting. And like I said, specialized products would include consulting, freelancing, merch, courses, stuff like that. So I have been talking for like 30 minutes straight. I'm going to check in with the comments just to see what you guys are saying. Okay, sorry, I have to go all the way back to the beginning, but let's see. Oh, I just discovered you on Leap. Oh, great. Let's see. Hey, Dan, video looks great and audio is fantastic as always. Thanks, man. Thank you. I appreciate that. Let's see. I feel like I need direction on my content about art as a mixed media artist. Okay. I remember you in Leap into Live. That want to sell but also show the benefits of art but not teach art. Wondering if paid community can help me. I think if you want to sell art, it's going to be hard to have a paid community unless it's like, I think of a wine membership, where if you become a member of a wine club, then you get the wine at a discount because you're part of the club. That's the only way that I would see that in that model. But what I would suggest, Jaina, is to join us on the YouTube Huddle Up, and we can talk more specifically about YouTube on there. That's Fridays at 12 p.m. Pacific Standard Time. That's like, I feel like we can do a whole deep dive on your channel and stuff. Let's see. Okay, Run Again Rover. I have a product in the making, but get stuck on the tech stuff. oh yeah, you totally don't have to get stuck on the tech stuff. Like, what tech stuff are you getting stuck on? We can talk about that because there's so many tools that make it so easy. Yeah, that's funny. Passion comes from suffering. That's interesting. My definition of passion is something that you intend on dedicating your life to, like you said, Heather, and you'll do everything possible to achieve that. Yeah, so that's actually a good way to put it, Bailey. And I agree, but I also think that, or that's why I like the fact that there is a distinction between passion and enthusiasm economy, because I think what I was finding was that, you know, let's see. What I was finding was that people who are dedicating their life to something have like already have experience, and it's hard for someone who's just starting today to look at someone else who's like successful but then doesn't feel like they have any experience in a specific thing to feel like, oh, so then I can't do it because I'm not passionate about any one thing. And you know, that's totally not true. So if you have a passion, yeah, like even more so. But if you're starting from zero in whatever it is that you're enthusiastic about, like you know, you can totally still do this. Let's see. My passion would be filmmaking and photography. I really want to do it, and I will stop at nothing to work as a photographer or videographer. Awesome. Let's see. You must have that before you can move forward. Yes. Yeah, and see, that's another thing is I feel like a lot of the people in the passion economy could do things like freelancing, because that's what I do. I still have clients. I still do, you know, YouTube channel management and edit some videos and stuff like that. So that makes sense to me in that model. But I think it's harder in the enthusiasm model. I don't know. I have a passion for teaching, which is why I do so within my line of work 5 days a week. And on my channel, I love to teach. I will monetize purely from bad mobile games and VPNs. No one wants to pay premium for my services yet. Really? Melanie, we need to talk. Yes. So Annika is saying her niche is sailing lots of expensive products and services because it's such a specific thing. I'm very excited to have you as a guest pretty soon, Annika, because I would love to talk more about about what you're doing. Let's see. Boo, 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 boo. Don't worry, we are here whenever you are ready. Hi, Josh. Let's see. Having a Tom Buck video on Monday night and watching a replay of you making the video the following day. And I've still got a video to look forward to later in the week. I must be in heaven. And also watching Heather and still got a couple stay later this week. I am definitely in heaven. That's funny. Let's see. Did you unleash a secret sauce with affiliate on your podcast being someone not interested unless 6 figures? Wait, to Heather. Did you unleash a secret sauce with affiliate on your podcast? I need to, I don't understand the question, Josh. Let's see. Yes, the tree totally makes sense. Cool. I'm glad. So I still need to, I need to like put this in a chart and be, you know, and say like, oh, so if you want to start a YouTube channel and you want to monetize off of that YouTube channel, don't worry. You don't have to wait until you become part of the YouTube partner program. You can start monetizing as soon as you have one person or 100. Let's say 100. That's why it's called from 1 to 100. And here are all the different ways that you can go about it. I meant if your community could help. Let's talk, Jaina, because I don't want to like recommend something if it's not your thing. Let's see. So in Leap Into Live, I remember saying that if you're an artist and you're trying to sell your art, I almost even think that Instagram might be better for you. So it's just like people just see kind of the product or, you know, the thing that you're selling. But you could use YouTube as a way to kind of showcase your philosophy and your approach and like what makes you different as an artist from someone else. That's, you know what I mean? That's like different. What's up, Rob? This always makes me chuckle. But this too. Thank you, Melanie. Thank you, Melanie. Passion is horizontal. Everyone can have it. Yes. Agreed. What's up, Greg? Good to see you. Watching you and Heather stay enthusiastic even at low points analytically, and you literally rely on that to live, whereas I don't need to pay rent. It so encourages me. I'm so glad. Let's see. Mine seems to be gaming for consoles like the new Xbox, PS5 with car games. I'm this close to starting a Twitch where I just play video games, because I don't think there's a day that goes by where I'm not playing video games, but I have to tell myself that I need to like focus on, I only have like the bandwidth to do so many things. Sup, tech troublemaker, good to see you. Hello. Mr. Camera Junkie, you are moving and shaking today, man. Heather Ramirez on Tom Buck's podcast I just listened to on my walk. Tom found a secret pay for views and subs topic and did mention he would enjoy your feedback. Oh, we're supposed to talk about that on the couples table. So join us on Thursday. That's the Reddit thread that he was talking about. Eric, what's up? Ronisha, I love your hair. Thank you. Ronisha, did I say your name right? Okay, cool. So that was not as painless as I thought it was going to be. I was just feeling super anxious before. It's just one of those days, guys. So if this makes sense, great. What I will say is next week, I'm so excited. I know I'm excited for every guest, but I'm very excited because next Tuesday, I am going to have our financial advisor, Dee Dee Jones, on as a guest. She's a CPA. We've been working with her for a couple months now. And I think that as we're talking about the creator economy and monetizing and this whole thing, we need to talk to a CPA. Okay. And I think like we can ask those questions about what kind of business structure you need to have and what's tax deductible and budgeting and keeping tracks of expenses and stuff like that. This is all the stuff that's like not glamorous. No one really talks about it. And I think it's just, it's a really integral part of being a full-time content creator. So definitely join for that episode. And I really think that that's one where you're going to want to ask questions live. So definitely join us at 1 p.m. Pacific Standard Time. That should be really interesting. Let's see. Yeah, we need to hear the financial advice. This stream was amazing. Thanks, Sammy. Do you think I could sell a course on how to do amazing interviews? I'm working on a very, very big interview. Sammy, really? Who is it? So I think that when it comes to courses, the first thing that I would suggest is to validate your course with something smaller, because it takes a lot of work to make a course. So what I would suggest doing is starting off with a webinar, and you can start off with like a, kind of the introduction to what would be your course. So maybe it's like how to invite guests for your interview YouTube video. Like maybe that's the one thing that you talk about on your webinar. And if you can get enough people to go to that webinar, and then in that webinar, you can tell people, hey, if you're interested in this, I'm in development of a whole course about how to do amazing digital interviews. If you're interested in that, sign up for my mailing list or buy it early. They can get like a pre-sale price or something. And then that way you don't end up doing what I did, which is create a course that no one ends up buying. Right? So I think the validation part is crucial. I think it could save you a lot of headache. And then what also ends up happening is that you're going to get so much feedback from that webinar. People will help you figure out how to price it, what needs to be included, because you are going to have cursive knowledge. This is what a lot of people struggle with when it comes to online courses. You have cursive knowledge. So you don't know what people don't know, and they don't either. So it's really helpful to talk to the people that you think are going to be buying your course before you make any kind of investment in developing a whole thing that ends up just sitting there. So personally, do I think you could sell a course on how to do that? Heck yes. But, I probably wouldn't be your person, because like I already, not that I can't learn from you, Sammy. I would love to learn from you, but like I also do interviews already, you know what I mean? So you need to talk to someone who is thinking about doing interviews, but for some reason hasn't, right? And then addressing those reasons, like why haven't you done your interview show that you've been thinking about? Is it because you're scared to ask for guests? Is it because you're not very good at asking questions? Is it because you think you don't have the right equipment to be able to have a guest join you digitally, et cetera, et cetera. Cool. With computer gaming channel, I struggled to start because of the whole thinking how to make money and how it solves a problem, like in the VRA Academy states. Okay, so here's the thing when it comes to this whole thing, because here's the piece I haven't figured out, is the difference between an education channel and an entertainment channel. This, to me, is very suited to an education channel. I mean, you could argue that if someone is training to run a marathon and they are not a marathon runner, they're starting from zero, you're not necessarily, you're not teaching anything, you're kind of just showing as you go. So you can argue that maybe it's not an education channel, but I wouldn't say it's an entertainment channel either, the same way that, say, a gaming channel is, where if someone is watching gaming content, it's purely like to watch something entertaining. They're not trying to be the best gamer in the world. They're not trying to learn anything from you. Like, it's purely entertainment. That's the piece that I'm still trying to figure out, to be absolutely perfectly honest. And I think my default for now, as of today, is if you're gonna go the entertainment way, I can't help but default to the other creator economy, influencer economy models, where it's like you just have to be very entertaining, amass a lot of subscribers and views, and then like it's almost like your entertainment factor and value is the thing that drives success and monetization and stuff like that. And I can't tell you how to be more entertaining. That's like it's just not my specialty. So I'm going to tell you said maybe I need a 2-hour consultation with you. I'm going to tell you I don't even know what I would say, because that's the part that I'm still trying to learn. I have a friend who I always cross all of everything that I'm learning when it comes to business in the creator economy through him. You may have seen him in the comments. His name is James, of the James and Mark channel. And to me, I always think of them as the example because they are very much an entertainment channel in my eyes. So these are my college buddies. We've been friends forever. They have a mukbang channel where it's basically like an eating show. So it's very much entertainment. They have a live stream every Monday and Friday, I believe. And they cook on camera. It's very interactive. There's a lot of community engagement. And if you're a big foodie or food head, I mean, like, there's a lot of value here for sure. And they have, I mean, as you can see, they have a lot of people that tune in, and it's so much fun. But, if we go back to this, like, it would just be different. So, like, their specialized product, what I can see is something that's food related, because everyone that's watching them is probably into cooking and food. That's why they're watching that, right? So maybe it's like, hey, eventually they can come out with their own line of utensils or something, or, maybe they can come out with their own like hot sauce or something like that. Very specialized product. They do have a Discord server. I know this. And then affiliates, they already do. So, with different restaurants that they go to and things that they eat on camera and stuff. So, there's different ways that they're already monetizing, but that's very different from like, okay, you have a YouTube channel about podcasting, and then you're going to make a online course about how to start a podcast. Like, that's very obvious on like how you're gonna monetize. Does that make sense? So yeah, when it comes to, well, first of all, let me back up. When it comes to gaming in general, like as a content creator, I am totally like, I don't even know. I don't know the first thing about it. I have no idea. I want to do it, but like I don't even watch gamers, so it's like I don't even know like how I would do it. Like I'm just like the least qualified person to ask about that. So, yeah. Sorry. Let's see. El Jefe, what's up? It's good to see you. Hey, Mike. So good to see you. So good to see you. This person is bigger than you and Tom, and he's very famous. I have a contact him, and he was a late night host. Oh, great. Well, that's very exciting. Sammy, you'll have to tell us offline. I didn't know anyone was bigger than me and Tom. What are you talking about? Let's see. Hey, what's up, Dr. Elo? Access is a monetization vector. All creators. So there you go. That's another thing. I mean, I would kind of almost put this in the digital space bucket, is because that's how people would get access, is in the digital space. But yeah, for sure, you know, in the entertainment sector, like maybe you do you know, watch me tackle the last boss in this game, but it's members only, so you get the exclusive content, or you get you know, you pay for access on seeing that stream or the replay, right? Let's see. I'm so sorry for asking this, but I just got here. I'm a small YouTuber, just got monetized like 2 weeks ago, but I wanted to focus on affiliate marketing. Any tips? I have a little over 1,000 subs. No tips, just do it. Like, I know you want more than that, so like give me more. Like, what do you mean? But, you know, how about this? Tell me about your YouTube channel, right? I want to say that when it comes to affiliate marketing, it should be a very organic thing. If you are very specific about your tree roots, right? And I think that, where are my tree roots, yo? Okay, I think your tree roots, like this is, you know, call it passion, niche, whatever. Just for this model, I want to say enthusiasm, because it lends itself to, okay, you don't need to be the best in your space. You'd also, I like enthusiasm because it's less about competition. Like, you don't have to be the only one or the biggest one. You can literally be starting from zero. But if, you know, like if you are a business coach who specializes in, you know, if you're like the coach for coaches to help coaches be better coaches, I think the tools and the affiliate partners that you would work with would be very clear, you know? So it's almost like what I would suggest as tips is put together a list of the stuff that you already use. And then it's just a lot of the affiliate programs you don't even have to really apply for. You just sign up for them, and then you can just start, you know, talking about them to your audience. And I will say, if you have a committed audience of 1,000 subscribers or even less than that, like it's not about, like you could start selling products and providing valuable products if people are introducing them to valuable products, regardless of your channel size. So bye, Bailey. See ya. Oh, I was just talking about you. Did you see my whole part where I was talking about you? Director of Awesome? Are you kidding? What an awesome channel name. Speaking of enthusiasm, I've been interested in doing a daily morning show. Great. Hot sauces and spices seem to be popular trajectory for food influencers. That's so funny, because I just like came up with that, not even seeing an example of that. We need to monetize the cooking supplies we use, because people always ask about our cooking gear. So here's like the other thing I would say when it comes to this model. So in the creator economy, working with brands is a very, very lucrative and popular way to monetize. And I I encourage you to do it. I'm not saying it's not a bad thing, but I also believe that if we think about you doing this for a very long time because this is your bread and butter and this is your business now, I also do think that I think it's a worthwhile endeavor to build your brand and sell your products versus selling somebody else's. I think that's different from affiliates, right? Because it's not the same as I'm going to sign a contract with a sponsor and they're going to pay me, $10,000 for a 60-second spot or whatever, whatever it is. Or even worse, like the sponsor's asking to guarantee, and never do this, guys, never do this. If a sponsor asks you for some kind of guarantee of views, just run very fast in the opposite direction, because I just don't think I don't think you should be selling attention. I don't, focus on your enthusiasm. Focus on like your people, your community, show up for them. I just don't think that's like I don't know. I think it's a tough game. I forgot why I even went down that way. All right, let's go back to the comments. Let's see. Dick Cavett. I don't know what that is. Cameo has made Access a $1 billion business. This is true. What about an episode on NFT digital products? Another thing, I have no idea. Every time I hear NFT, I just shake my head because I'm like, I feel like I should really understand this, but I don't. And the best explanation that I've found so far, which has taken me from like level 0 to level 1, was the SNL skit about NFTs. So I couldn't do an episode on it because I have no idea. Although I was thinking about inviting someone to talk about it, I still can't get over the fact that it's like, why would you want to? I don't know. I just don't get it. I don't know. I don't get it. Clearly, I don't get it. Love the visual aspects about this entire stream. Sorry, that's what worries me. My channel is basically inspirational. I feel like it would be a little harder for me to find companies because of that. So I think what I would do, or what I would suggest, is like come up with a list of who you want to work with, or like tools that you're already using, products that you're already using. So if it's an inspirational space and we're going through here, right? Okay, so you're super enthusiastic or passionate about inspiring people, and you have a YouTube channel all about that. Your specialized product could be a journal where every morning people write something that is, or every morning in their journal, you have an inspirational quote, and then you can have a journal prompt where every day someone writes something, that's inspirational or inspiring to them. So the digital space, this is only going to work if your people have something in common, right? So it can't just be a bunch of people who need to be inspired, because that's like everybody all around the world. But are you inspired to start your own business, start your own YouTube channel, give your first speech, or do public speaking, run your first marathon, whatever it is, then you can bring those people together. And then affiliates, which is what you were asking about, I mean, I don't know, because I don't know your niche, but like, okay, going off the journaling thing, like, okay, journaling could be a way that you could feel more inspired. So you can sign up for Squarespace and start a blog. Get a free trial with the link in the description. I don't know. I don't know your niche, so I don't know. But what I would say is, like, if you can't think of products that you're already using, then maybe go back to this part of it. And, like, you know what I mean? Does that make sense? So, like, for James and Mark, they just said in the comments, people ask them about the cooking utensils all the time. That's because they're already using them. So it happens, all the time. All right, cool. I have an inspirational channel as well. There you go. You guys should connect. I can guarantee 5 views. NFTs are super interesting. I know they are, and I'm thinking about you, Greg, because I know you have a better understanding than I do. I don't get it. They are fungible. Josh, the only way I can understand NFT is when my children are asking to buy a skin for Fortnite to show they bought it. Is it that? Gary V did mention it will be the future. Yes. Here's what I'll say. You don't have to do what everyone else is doing. You don't have to do the trendy thing. So, like, if you're genuinely interested in figuring out NFTs, go figure it out. But if you're not, you don't need to know anything about what's going on over there in order to be successful with your own thing. So, like, Gary Vee can say it's, I love Gary Vee. I'm not hating on Gary Vee, but it's, like, I don't ever see myself getting into NFTs, but never say never. I don't know. Let's see. I was thinking about making a journal this morning. Definitely confirmation. Oh, great. Oh, I'm so glad. Yeah. So I'm, going off of that, you could do guides, you could do access. So, if are you a content creator that's feeling really stuck when it comes to coming up with ideas? Here's my online course, my 5 podcast series, to help you get unstuck, to help your ideas flow, et cetera, et cetera. I mean, there's so many ways to go about it. So seriously, what I would do is get a giant piece of poster paper and just write down every single idea that you can come up with. Like, force yourself for an hour to come up with every idea. And then from there, it's so much easier to edit. And then you can just be like, no, this isn't that good, or circle this one because it's good. But you have to kind of like drain the pipe, get all the ideas out, and then you can edit from there. All right, cool. So I hope this was helpful. Actually, I didn't really mean for it to be helpful. I kind of just wanted to talk out my thoughts about this thing. But I don't know. I'm feeling pretty good about it. So if you want to talk shop about the enthusiasm economy, the creator economy, the passion economy, anything that has to do with different ways to monetize in the creator economy, I would love to chat with you. That's what this show is all about. And if you are working on a YouTube channel and you want accountability and you want channel reviews and a cool community of other like-minded people, you can join us for the YouTube Huddle Up, which is every Friday at 12 p.m. Pacific Standard Time, including this Friday. And we would love to have you. It's a really fun time where we can really get into the specifics about YouTube and all of that. Yeah, cool. All right. Let's see. There's a place for NFTs in photography, but I haven't had the time to look into it. I know. It's like a space that is growing very rapidly. Roundhill Media, late to the party, but love the message today, and the graphic is so helpful for visual people like me. Great. I will make this look better, and then, I don't know. I'll make it look better because I just made this on the fly. All right, cool, guys. Great to see you. Thanks again. Shout out to all the people who checked out Leap Into Live. And if you haven't checked out Leap Into Live, I'll give out one more shout out for that because, based on a lot of the questions that were happening today, I think that this is a 4-day live streaming bootcamp. It started yesterday, but you could totally pay $38 to get session replays, access to everything, all of that. It's still going on right now, and there's just so much to learn when it comes to podcasts, live streaming, online video, monetization, online courses, just so many things. I think it's definitely worth it. I think that you're definitely going to get your $38 worth. So if you haven't been watching, there's still time to catch it live, or you can just catch the replays. All right. With that said, I will catch you guys later. Talk to you soon. Bye.